The 17th European Championships finals. Spain versus England. In the FIFA World Rankings, Spain are ranked 8th, England are ranked 4th. This Sunday in Berlin, capacity of 71,000, which also hosted the 2006 World Cup final and the 2015 Champions League final. Spain started the tournament there, while England, this will be their first game in Berlin. Hello and welcome to the Euro 2024 final preview. If you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Hopefully you all do go on to enjoy, and let me know your thoughts going into the final in the comment section down below. We're going to be live for this one on Sunday, live on the channel. Be sure to come and join us, share your thoughts during the game. It could be a very special night for England, or it could be going home, of course, to Madrid. Is it going to London or Madrid? Let me know in the comment section down below. Welcome to the preview. Let's get right into it. Let's start then with some team news for Spain. Carvajal and Lenormand are back from suspension after missing the semi-finals. Of course, Jesus Navas and, of course, Nacho Fernandez took their spots. It'll be interesting to see if one of them will miss out on the bench with these two returning. They have been crucial parts of Spain so far in this tournament. And another bit of team news, of course, for Spain, Pedri still out and he will miss the final. Very unfortunate after that injury he sustained against Germany in the quarterfinals. Alvaro Morata is still expected to start, the captain of Spain, despite notably twisting his knee in the celebrations after the semi-finals, but he does seem to be okay for the final. Team news for England, Luke Shaw has made 2 appearances off the bench in the last 2 games. Unknown if he will start ahead of Kieran Trippier on that left-hand side, but it would be a good risk to take if you were Gareth Southgate to give the balance to the side. Other team news, Harry Kane has not looked fit all tournament, however he started every single game for England with the captain's armband, so you'd expect Kane to still lead England out on Sunday. Looking at the tournament so far, then Spain look like the team to beat. They did go behind in their last game, but in the group stage, they won every single game. And of course, so far this tournament, they're the top scorers, scoring 13. They're one off equaling France's record of 14 goals at a major tournament. And of course, if they score 2 on Sunday, then they'll break that record and set a new one of 15, of course. So, of course, that's a big opportunity for Spain on Sunday. But they've only conceded 3 goals as well. They've scored the most, conceded the second least at the tournament. Spain, the team to beat so far, looking very strong. For England, it's been a very disappointing tournament. And of course, they've gone behind in every knockout game so far this tournament, including the last game. And because it was so early, I predicted it during the live watch long. I said everyone now after this is going to say this will be England's best performance. But going behind so early definitely helped England, because after they go behind, it looks so much more energised. It's like, yeah, okay, we need to actually do something now. And I feel like that's a huge reason of why England performed so well, because they went behind and they knew then they had, they're in danger basically, and that was so early on. So that's why I feel like we saw such a complete performance from England after they conceded so early on in that game. In the group stage, of course, England did top the group unbeaten, 1 win, 2 draws at 5 points, and going into the knockouts with good strength from England, despite them having, a very poor tournament up to that stage. But they have grown into it every game, but still waiting to see that really good performance from them. Maybe it comes this Sunday. In the last game then, in the semi-finals, Spain had to beat France, and they did it 2-1. They did go behind, but in the end, too much quality, of course. It was Yamal with that incredible goal, and Dani Olmo striking home as well. However, I did notice in that game, Spain did look quite open on the back. Of course, the way they play, we'll get into that further on in the video, but it is a big talking point on why England could have success in the final against Spain, committing so many players forward. For England, of course, in the semi-finals, they had to beat the Netherlands. They did so 2-1 after going behind, and honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. Sort of reiterating what I just said about England going behind, they sort of, realised then they have to show up and do something to, stay in the competition. And they did. And I feel like because it was so early on, they had the time then to put in a big performance. They had 83 minutes after conceding the Xavi Simons goal to, put things right. Age of the time, and I feel like that's why, because they had that shock so early on, it was a blessing in disguise. Then they upped the intensity and the tempo, playing quick attacking football, what we expect from England. But it is a shame it's taken them to concede every game just to get out of them. But of course, that's the main reason why everyone's saying that was their best performance of the tournament. And yes, it helps, but it has been, a bit sidetracked because they had to go 1-0 down to really get the energy and intensity going from that game. Let's have a look in the dugout then. The managers for Spain, of course, Luis de la Fuente is his first ever major tournament. He's been at Spain around a decade now, worked his way up from the youth ranks, and I feel that is incredible because now he's really got a good understanding of all these players in the squad. However long they've been there, Luis de la Fuente has probably been there at some stage along their journey. Of course, Yamal just recently getting in, but still, majority that same knowledge applies. The 63-year-old has an 85% win rate at Spain. He's only lost 2 of the 20 games he's been in charge of. They were to Colombia and to Scotland, and they didn't score in both. So, if England can keep Spain quiet, they have a good chance of getting the win and bringing football home. For England, of course, it's Gareth Southgate. The 53-year-old has 63% win rate and will be leading England to the first ever major tournament final on foreign soil. Of course, Southgate's lost 17 of his 100 matches in charge. And of course, out of the last 8, in fact, they've failed to score in 7 of them. So much like Spain, if England don't score at all in the 90, you're probably expecting Spain to have enough to get through. But vice versa, if Spain don't score, maybe England can sneak one and get through. This is Southgate's second ever Euros and second ever Euro final. So 100% record for Southgate getting to the final of the Euros when he's managing the team, and of course statistically he's England's best ever manager for all the records he's broken during this tournament. The football may not be pretty, but they are getting the results, and I feel like a lot of people deserve to give Southgate credit for that because everyone's so quick to jump on his back and give him the hate, but they're getting the results, they're getting through, they've got to this stage, so he does deserve quite a bit of credit for that, of course. And of course, the rumours are and the reports coming out of England are that Southgate is about to sign a new contract. To be honest, when you have this good a manager, even if the football's not great, you're getting the results. And I feel like England fans will definitely prefer to get results over performances, although performances are really nice. But at international level, I don't feel like it matters too much as long as you are getting the results. I do think England fans will take that all day long. Let me know in the comment section down below. Would you take another, for example, 2 more years of Southgate if it meant you got far in the World Cup? Or would you throw all this away to get a new manager in and maybe, let's say, get it to the round of 16 quarter-final stage of the next World Cup? Let me know in the comment section down below, England fans. Very interested to know. Let's have a look at the tactical battle then. I think this is really interesting. I don't usually do these, so let me know in the comments, did you enjoy this part of the video? So Spain defending, they're very, very narrow. You look at the space between Carvajal and, of course, Cucurella, the fullbacks for England. They're very close together, which, of course, for England could suit them if they're able to get the ball out wide quickly to the likes of Shaw on the left or Bellingham or Saka, Walker or Foden on the right. The players that really do like to get forward, they can hurt Spain there. And against France, of course, they didn't leave many players back. They don't, Spain. They like to commit a lot of bodies forward. England can really hurt Spain on the counter-attack because they only really leave Laporte and the other centre-back, which so far has usually be Lee Normand at the back. So England could have quite a bit of joy on the counter-attack in this game. For Spain in possession, it's a patient approach. They can move the ball really quickly to dictate the tempo of the game, and they'll get the full-backs. Cucurella and Carvajal will go quite high, not extremely high, but they will get high and wide and overlap the wingers, Yamal and Nico Williams, on the relative sides. And when this happens, of course, it allows, when Carvajal goes out on the right-hand side, it allows, in possession, Yamal to drop inside deeper. And of course, we'll never really see it with Nico Williams, but then on the overlap, it's still another winger. And then Yamal's an extra player in midfield. And we saw his quality, of course, in the last game with the goal he scored. So that's something England need to be careful of. Tactically, it's very interesting to watch Olmo and Morata. Morata will start as the number 9, but is sort of like a false 9. He does drop in and drops very deep at times, where Olmo will even go into his position. Olmo, of course, starting as the attacking midfielder in that side. But it's really interesting to watch the interchange between them two players. They do swap about a lot during the game, and that's a battle to look out for. Ruiz is a huge part of this Spain side, and it's really interesting because if he's playing against a low block, he's allowed to get forward, let Rodri stay back, and help and cover the back four. Ruiz is able to get forward, get those runs into the box. But if it's a high press in England side, from what we've seen throughout the tournament so far against other oppositions, against Spain, then Ruiz will sit back with Rodri in sort of a double pivot. He won't really get involved, but he'll just be there to drag out the players from the opposition. And then Spain are able to get the gaps through and play forward. So Ruiz's role is actually so clever and so important for Spain. And we'll have to wait and see how important it is against England, how they decide to set up. Out of possession, we've talked about Spain being very compact and narrow. However, in possession, the wingers Yamal and Nico Williams do like to stay quite wide. Often Yamal will drop inside, as we've said, and, you know, watch out for Morata drifting out wide then when Yamal or Nico Williams do sometimes come central. But Carvajal on the right will look to be an overlapper and get some balls into the box. But Yamal's positioning as well is really clever. Really interested to know how it all works on Sunday. Stretching the attack this much, of course, will stretch the England back line. But this also allows Spain's midfield to get involved and, of course, hurt England. In attack, expect Morata, as we've just said, to be drifting wide sometimes. Of course, if it's not a ball over the top or through the middle on the turn for Spain, then when they're slowly building up around the England box, expect it to be a little bit of rotation. Yamal coming central, Morata maybe drifting wide, and then of course that allows the likes of Ruiz to really get forward and make the runs into the centre that he loves to make. And of course how he's got some goal involvements this tournament, but he's also really clever. So that's a few players I'd look out for during the game and a bit of movement around the England box. For England then, defensively, if they are going to stay narrow, you know, they're going to allow Williams and Yamal lots of time. So if they are going to do that, then Saka and Shaw, Saka and Trippier, whoever starts on that left-hand side, has to be really quick out to Yamal, and then Saka, who will most likely start on the right-hand side, has to be sharp out to Williams to close him down, show him the outside, of course. Of course, the opposite to this, though, if you were to stay wide and not allow Williams or Yamal that space on the side, then it, of course, stretch that back line of England's, let the midfield sit quite deep, but then you'd probably imagine Spain start winning that midfield battle and get through centrally through those areas. For me, I reckon a low block would definitely suit England the best on Sunday. Not staying, you know, too compact, not staying too wide, giving Yamal and Williams a bit of space, and then the whole unit can come over as a block to, you know, start pressing, especially on the left-hand side where it is with Williams. I expect that because Yamal will like to roam inside into the box as well. But of course, out of possession for England, they've got to be patient because Spain, they'll try and frustrate England on the ball. They'll try just move it back, get England to push up. But as soon as, you know, Kane gets away from the midfield, then that's when the gaps start to open, and Spain is so quick at finding that space in a few seconds and then play straight through England. So that's really got to be spot on from England on Sunday. In possession then for England on Sunday, I feel like Mainoo's going to be very important going forward because he does like to, you know, make those advanced runs, which I feel like is so helpful for England and a huge reason why the performances have started to improve a little bit in recent games. But when England do have the ball on Sunday, they have to protect it because Spain are going to have quite a lot of it. They already have so far this tournament. England have had quite a lot of it this tournament, but neither side's going to really get it their own way. So when England have it, they've got to protect it, as I say, but they have to move it quick and, you know, get forward with it. They can't just take the time at the back, try kill the game off, because Spain, as we'll notice on later in some stats, they're very good at winning the ball high up the pitch. So England, they've got to be moving it quickly, but they've got to at the same time be protecting it. And runners from the front side, especially on that right-hand side against Cucurella, but the England right, of course, Walker, Saka, Foden, maybe Bellingham if he does swap over onto that right. We do notice a lot of change between Bellingham and Foden. Then they've got to be quick and they've got to be making quite a lot of runs against Cucurella on the right-hand side. For me as well, Harry Kane has to stay central and stay up top because he's dropping deep. He's just not working. Unless you have another number 9, I've been saying this from the start of the tournament, unless you have Watkins or Tony on the pitch with Kane, it's never going to work with Kane dropping deep because Kane's supplying the balls that you want Kane to be in the centre for, if that makes sense, or a striker, and no one else is having that instinct. Also, Kane does not look fit this tournament. He probably will start on Sunday because he is the captain and it is Harry Kane, let's not forget. But a lot of times when there's the ball into the box, Kane just doesn't seem interested. as soon as Watkins come on against Netherlands, he was in the box. Of course, against Shaw, he had that good opportunity, missed that one. But then the Palmer chance, of course, Watkins slots it away. He is a penalty box striker. Tony as well has got the height, the physicality to really cope against Laporte and Lenormand. So it's interesting to see at what point Southgate will sub Kane off, if he does at all. I imagine he would if it got around 70, 75 minutes and England need a goal. If he's not doing much, because, as I say, Kane does not look completely fit this tournament. In attack for England then, we just, of course, covered the Kane points, but the wing-backs are so important with the width. Of course, usually it's Trippier and Saka. The width, they're literally hugging the sideline of the pitch. So we expect it to be the right-hand side where England predominantly use. Of course, that would be defended by Cucurella and Nico Williams for Spain. But Saka, Walker, Foden usually been on that right, cutting on the left foot, of course. And Walker's been going to the byline, of course, that offside goal against Netherlands. But that was another example of the good work. Of course, against Denmark as well, Walker was on the overlap on the right, got a ball in the box and a goal coming from it. So they are a big threat and they have to utilise that, the width that they're going to be allowed, because Spain, very narrow. England, they've got to use the wide areas really well. And the cutbacks, the movements in the box has to be perfect. This is why I have to bring up the point of Kane again. You know, he has to be energised for this game because he's been sluggish recently. He hasn't looked interested to get in the box. If it's like Watkins in there, he's on his toes. He's a penalty box striker. He's in the positions. And honestly, he would have a field day in that group stage if he did start against Kane. But there we go. That's just my thoughts on England in the attack. Some battles on the pitch to look out for. Nico Williams versus Saka and Walker. That left-hand side for Spain, the right-hand side defensively for England. It's going to be really interesting, of course. Walker is one of the best defenders in the world. He hasn't had a great tournament this year, I have to admit. But his pace, his positioning as well, he reads the game really well. Of course, against Nico Williams, it's going to be a very fascinating battle. Nico Williams likes to, be unpredictable. He can cut back on his right, or he can go to the byline on his left and dribble inside. So, or get a cross in. So, really interesting to see how Walker does defend that. Saka as well. We expect them to double up on Williams on the right-hand side of England's defence. So one big battle to watch out for on Sunday. Off to the opposite side, though, it's interesting to see Yamal versus Trippier or Shaw, whoever starts the left wing-back, but also Mark Guéhi, the left-sided centre-back for England, who we expect to start. He's been terrific this tournament. We've seen it, of course, against France. Yamal was dragging out Saliba and still beating them. And Hernandez couldn't cope either with Yamal. So that's one to really watch out for. Yamal's so clever at not just staying wide, coming inside as well. And of course, by the time the final comes around, he'll be 17. He's already got one goal this tournament, becoming the youngest ever scorer at the Euros. But honestly, he's superb. And that's another big battle to watch out for. How does Guéhi, Shaw or Trippier, whoever starts the left wing back, really cope with Yamal? It's easy enough to say step off him, but then you give him that half a yard where he scored his goal from. If you get close to him, he's going to beat you for pace because Shaw's not the quickest. Guéhi's probably not the quickest as well. So it's one of those, you never know what to do. It's a dangerous game and another big battle to look out for. We've spoken about Carvajal, especially on the right-hand side for Spain getting forward. That's going to be a big battle against, of course, once again, whoever starts the left wing back for England, Trippier or Shaw. Probably Shaw's better suited to this, tracking the overlap runs of Carvajal because he's got a really good cross in him, as we already know. The problem England have in midfield is they're up against, three of the best. Olmo, Rodri and Ruiz. So even if England do get tight to Rodri and Ruiz especially, we've already seen them thriving in tight situations this tournament. So that's really where they could thrive. And honestly, I don't really see a way where England are going to win this midfield battle. Of course, as you already mentioned, Yamal can come in deep inside as well. Olmo can rotate with Morata. Morata likes to play as a false nine, also like an attacking midfielder. So it really does create that 4-5 players in midfield for Spain. And honestly, it's really tricky to imagine England winning that battle in midfield. For England then, their battles that we're looking forward to going forward. We've got, of course, Shaw against Carvajal on the left-hand side. We've seen so far this tournament how much the wing-backs are so important to England with Trippier and Saka. But if, Shaw's able to start on the left-hand side, natural left footer, able to first time get balls into the box and quality balls into the box as well. Carvajal could have a nightmare on his day. But he is, of course, a very good defender, just like Kyle Walker. On the opposite side, of course, we've already mentioned it, Walker and Saka against Cucurella. That's going to be another big battle for England. General battles during the game then, possession. Both sides so far this tournament love to have the ball. Both averaged over 55% of the possession per match. Of course, neither side can have it their way in this one. It could be quite equal, or England might just suffer. And I think suffering for England probably might be the best way to go about it. Have the ball in certain times, protect it well, use it well. They can't just, dilly-dally with it at the back because it's pointless then. They have to use it well. Spain use it really well, and we expect Spain probably better players suited to on the ball than England, if I'm honest. They just look so much more relaxed, know where everyone is. It's better suited to playing this way under Luis de la Fuente. So for me, I think Spain will win the possession battle, but of course they did lose it to Germany and still able to really control the game out of possession with the way they set up. So once again, another big battle. Also, I have to bring up the defensively from set pieces. England don't look convincing. We saw against Netherlands, Denzel Dumfries come free at the front post twice, hit the bar and went over the bar from his headers. So, Spain have got some big players in the likes of Laporte, of course. Morata's a big lad. Rodri, of course. So, aerially, England are going to be careful. And set piece, they've got to be awake for that one. For the squad selection then, for Spain, we'll start off with them. We expect them to go with a 4-2-3-1. In goal, Unai Simon. He won't be able to beat the clean sheet record, to win the Golden Glove Award. Of course, Maignan kept 4 clean sheets. Spain have kept 3, 2 of which were from Simon. David Raya did start against Albania, of course. But in this one, we expect Simon to start in goal. Right back, we expect Jesus Navas to come out for Dani Carvajal. Centre-back's a bit questionable. We expect Laporte to start there. He started every game after the Croatia game where I think he had a knock, which he didn't start for. And then the right-sided centre-back, I think it will be Lenormand, but Nacho Fernandez is more than capable in there. Big game player as well and very experienced. Left-back, we've got Cucurella. He has, started there majority of the time this tournament. Seems to be preferred over Grimaldo. In midfield for Spain, Rodri, the DM, the 8 of Ruiz, and then the 10 of Olmo. Seems to be expected after Pedri's injury, of course. And in the front 3 of Williams on the left, striker of Morata, captain the side. On the right, we've got Yamal. As for England then, we expect it to be a 5-2-2-1. Now, this does sound negative, but it can be very positive in possession, being to, more suitably a 3-4-2-1 formation. We expect Pickford in goal, of course, right wing back Saka, centre back to be, of course, right side centre back Walker, then Stones, then left side centre back of Guéhi. Left wing back, I do expect it to be Trippier, but I'd love to see Shaw start there, depending on how fit he is. Of course, he played 45 minutes the other day against Netherlands. England have a day less to recover than Spain, but because the fact he didn't go to extra time, maybe we'll see Shaw start from the start here. Hope so, because it gives England that balance left to right. In midfield, we expect Mainoo and Rice to start there. Mainoo's been superb, honestly, so underrated. Then the attacking midfielders just behind Harry Kane, who will start, he's the captain. On the right, I'd like to see Foden again, really good against the Netherlands. Got a few shots away, able to cut in on the left-hand side, on that left foot, and, almost scored 2, maybe 3 goals as well. And then on the left-hand side of the midfield, attacking midfield, we'll go for Jude Bellingham. And his height could be utilised in this game, of course. Spain just conceded to France from Kolo Muani at the back post. Bellingham is a big aerial threat, as well as Harry Kane. If Harry Kane is the man to put the balls into the box for England and does still want to drop deep, then Bellingham will be a huge target for England at the back post. So as we mentioned, we expect the changes to be Carvajal for Navas and Lenormand for Nacho. Won't be too surprised on the second one, though. It could happen. Of course, the experience of Nacho to start, maybe. And for England, of course, we're expecting 1 change maximum, which would be sure to start ahead of Kieran Trippier on that left-hand side. Kane, we've mentioned him a few times, doesn't look fit, but he is the captain, so surely he starts. Watkins did impress, but honestly, I feel like he's better used off the bench, as well as the likes of Cole Palmer, who really can make an impact as a sub. And that's what's interesting about England. Both of these teams have used their squads really, really well this tournament as well, which is great to see. Foden to keep his place, 100% for me. These are a few of the question marks around some of the players. He's been superb. And then Trippier or Shaw. If you can start Shaw, 100%. And if he's going to last the 90, of course, 100% Shaw. If you can't, then probably Trippier first, 35, and then get Shaw on as soon as he can. As long as you reckon Shaw, for Southgate, as long as he reckons Shaw will last, get him on that second, because no disrespect to Trippier, he's a great player, but left-hand side takes too long to deliver. He hasn't got a good enough left foot, and he always has to cut in on his right and then slows everything down. And against Spain, who can recover quickly, of course, from the counter-attack, that ball across from the left-hand side has got to be imminent, and a quality ball as well. So as we just mentioned, subs are going to be very important in this game. Of course, for Spain, we've got the likes of Moreno, who scored the late last gasp winner against Germany to get them to the semi-final. Oyarzabal keeps on coming on for Morata. He's quality. Torres, of course, is the winger that comes on for Yamal, of course, scored against Albania. And Joselu also, I feel like, hasn't had much of an impact, but should Spain need a goal, I expect him to come on for Morata towards the end of the game. As for England, of course, we've already seen Ollie Watkins make a difference, Ivan Toney make a difference, the physical man up top. Of course, Palmer's been unreal when he comes on. Eze's given something fresh and new. Luke Shaw is obvious, we've talked about him quite a lot. Gallagher's a man that can get in there, get stuck. Of course, Spain versus Germany. Germany were just kicking Spain's legs, being very arrogant, very good in their face, not giving Spain time to breathe. And honestly, if England are to give that approach, Gallagher is a player that should be starting. Trent and Bowen as well are players that can impact this game. Trent with his vision of passing over the top or on the counter-attack could be really important. And Bowen, his pace on the right-hand side should, of course, the likes of, Foden maybe come off. He's come off in every game, usually for Palmer. But if Bowen was to come on, his pace around the back, he's able to score as well. He doesn't need anyone with him in support. So that could be another substitute that England look to utilise in the final. Key players for both sides, we could name the whole team. But to name a few, Rodri, Ruiz, Olmo for Spain, as well as Yamal and Williams for me are the massive ones. Laporte and Unai Simon, of course, are big ones also. As I say, we could probably name the whole side. And Cucurella has also impressed me this tournament. As for England, Pickford's kept them in a few games. Mark Guéhi's been their stand-up player. Mainoo's been unreal. Walker hasn't really been incredible, but he has got that quality to be a standout player. Shaw, when he came on in the last 2 games as sub-appearances, completely refreshed that left-hand side of England's. Of course, we haven't seen much of Gordon at all this tournament, so whether he'll get a chance in the final or not is unseen, but he's a good player with a lot of pace about him. Foden, Bellingham, of course, the key players as well. We've really named the whole side for both of these. There's a lot of talent on display in Berlin on Sunday. Been quite a few underperformances for both sides. I thought we'd just highlight a few. I think Alvaro Morata has been a little underperformer for Spain. It's really hard to pick one off that Spanish side because they have been so good. Morata, I understand, under quite a lot of heat and criticism from the Spanish media as well. Never good to see. But for England as well, I don't think Stones has been great. I don't think Walker's been great. Bellingham as well. Kane and Foden have all been off it. For me, though, Walker and Stones have definitely been miles off it, as well as Harry Kane. But of course, Bellingham with his big moments sort of, really lights his qualities, and we all know how good he is. But overall, without his goal contributions, he hasn't really done much this Euros for England. And Foden, he's been very unlucky, struggled to get involved on the left. As soon as he's got into that right attacking midfield position, of course, in the last 2 games, he's been a lot more effective, linking up with Walker, Saka as well. And, Kane, if he was in that box, he'd be getting a lot more service. But, of course, he is just dropping deep a lot. I've mentioned that quite a lot of times in this video now. Not trying to slander Kane too much. Of course, England so far this tournament, they've relied, as we just said, on big moments. But sometimes the football doesn't have to be pretty. They haven't put a full 90-minute performance together so far. It is tournament football. You don't always have to do that, as long as you get the results. I feel that would be a big argument of Gareth Southgate. If England do lose this, he'll say, the football wasn't pretty, but we got to a final. Or even if they do win it, no one will care because England have got over the line. During the games, fans will care because it hasn't been interesting. But when you're getting over the line, and if England were to win it, no one's going to talk about the performances after this. They're all going to talk about the end result, which is winning it. But for Spain, if they win it, of course, everyone's going to say how they've won it. Playing an attractive style of football, really good. They haven't had to rely on big players in big moments. It's been a real team effort where for England, they have had to rely on some quality moments, likes of Bellingham, Kane. They have had to rely on big individual players in big moments, Saka as well, of course. In the last 5 games between the two sides, then Spain won 2, 1 draw, England won the other 2. Last meeting between the two sides come back in the Nations League in 2018, where it was a 5-goal thriller, Spain 2, England 3, hoping for more goals like this on Sunday. Both teams' Euro record then, of course, Spain have won it 3 times in 64, 2008 and 2012. They still remain the only side to maintain their title of the Euros and defend it well, while England's best ever finish at the Euros was in 2020, coming 2nd place. And if whatever they do in this one, it will be their their best finish at the Euros, whatever it is, 2nd place, or if they do finally bring football home. A few fun stats for you all. England have played the most games at the Euros without winning it. It's 44 at the moment, and if they lose on Sunday, it'll go to 45. Spain have only lost 1 of their Euro finals that they've been in. That was back in 1984 to France, where they lost 2-0 in Paris. And if Spain win this tournament, of course, going into it, Spain have won 3 Euros. Germany have won 3 Euros. Spain are sort of climbing back on that record to equal it to 3. And now they have a chance on Sunday to go 4-3 up in Germany, against Germany, of course, to win it. And it would be the first side to win 4 Euro titles. So very interesting. And of course, what a place to do it for Spain against Germany. In Germany, the team, of course, they are tied with at the moment. I find that really fascinating. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let's talk about the road to the Final Four. Spain then, let's begin with them. First game, they beat Croatia 3-0 in Berlin. They then went to beat Italy 1-0. Probably should have been more in that game. Then against Albania, 1-0 win in the group stage, winning it with 9 points. Only side to do that this year's competition and win all 3 of their games. Of course, clean sheets in every single game also. In the round of 16, they beat Georgia 4-1 despite going 1-0 down in that game. They really did turn the screw. Then in the quarterfinals, they beat Germany 2-1. Moreno, 119th minute winner, of course, and Spain, the first time they've been able to knock out the hosts of that major tournament in the knockouts. Fun fact for you all there as well. In the semi-finals then, of course, they just come back from a goal behind again. Thanks to Kolo Muani opening the score for France, but Spain come back with Yamal and Olmo in quick succession. As for England, their road to the final is, quite different. In the group stage, they had to beat Serbia 1-0 thanks to Jude Bellingham in the opening game. Then they drew 1-1 to Denmark. Then they drew 0-0 to Slovenia, getting out the group undefeated with 5 points. In the round of 16, they beat Slovakia 2-1 after extra time, of course. 95th minute, Bellingham overhead kick, and then Kane added on time, of course, in extra time, And then quarter-final, they had to beat Switzerland on penalties 5-3 after a 1-1 draw. Saka cancelled out Embolo's opener in that game. In the semi-finals then, of course, once again going behind after Xavi Simons put Netherlands in front. But it was Captain Kane and Ollie Watkins at the end to win it 2-1 for England and get them to this point in the final. Finally then, let's have a look at some stats for both of these sides so far at the Euros. Spain averaged 2.2 goals per game, have scored 13, of course, 1 off France's record, 2 off breaking the record for a new one. Spain also conceded 0.5 goals per match. They've conceded 3. The only side to concede less is Slovakia. Then 57.4% average possession in the games. That is the 4th best at this year's Euros. 3 clean sheets. Only France have a better clean sheet record with 4. England, of course, are up there as well. We'll get onto them in a second. But, of course, Spain can equal it. But Unai Simon won't be winning the Golden Glove due to Raya playing in that 3rd group game. Which, Simon might not be too happy about it at the end of the tournament, of course. Spain also 11.1 XG, which is the most at this year's Euros. Spain 6.3 shots on target per match, which is a 12.3 conversion rate. 21 big chances, 15 of which were missed for Spain so far the Euros. 168 touches in the opposition's box and 34 corners. Also for Spain, 6.5 XG against, that is the most. But of course, they've only conceded 3, so, more than half of that. Possession won in the final third for Spain is the most, 7.3 times per match they win it in the final third of the opposition, of course. So that is very good for Spain, and England have to be careful on the ball, as we mentioned quite a lot in this video. Also, 13 yellow cards for Spain this tournament. They don't really care, do they, about the Buckins. As for England then, 1.2 goals per match. They've scored 7, so considerably less than Spain. 0.7 goals conceded per match. They've conceded 4, so only 1 more than Spain so far this tournament. 58.1 average possession per match. That is the 3rd most at this year's Euros. 2 clean sheets for Jordan Pickford. 5.6 expected goals for England. They've of course done better than that, scoring 7 goals. England average 3.5 shots on target per match, leading to a 10.5 conversion rate, which isn't great for England, but you know, it could be improved on. But you know, they're at the final. Let's not be too harsh on them. 11 big chances for England, 7 of which have been missed so far this tournament. 146 touches in the opposition's box and 22 corners so far this Euros. Also for England, 5.3 XG against. Of course, they're doing better than that because they've conceded less. Also, possession won in the final third per match 3.7 times. So if we can do that against Spain, that'd be very impressive as well. Yet 11 yellow cards for England so far this tournament. And also another stat for England, which they're doing very well in, which is the most. 32.2 average long balls per match. So that is very interesting, and it'll be a good way to beat the defensive line of Spain during this game. Also utilising the width and how narrow Spain are going to be out of possession to get that cross ball over and switch the play could be very effective in this game. And why I think Trent will be very good to play in this game, at least some parts during the match. Some individual stats. Dani Olmo is the joint top scorer with Harry Kane in the final, of course, with 3 goals each. If one of these two score in the final, of course, they will break that record. Quite a lot of people on 3 at the moment. Yamal is the joint most assists at the tournament with 3. 1 assist in the final, of course, will win it due to, I think it's Xavi Simons with 3 as well. Might be wrong on that one. Or Gakpo, not in the final, of course. Yamal's created 6 big chances, which is the most at the tournament. So very, very promising from Yamal. Of course, only 16. He's turning 17, I believe, the day you're watching this video. And, of course, very exciting talent. Olmo and Yamal have the most goal involvements at this year's Euros. Olmo 5, Yamal 4. Olmo being superb. You know, he's not started many games and he's come in to replace Pedri. So good as well. And this final is set up to be incredible. Let me know your score prediction in the comment section down below. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video and my score prediction. I hate to keep you all waiting, but it will be in the next video. So I'll keep you waiting for that one. It won't be long though until that's uploaded. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one as well. Hopefully you've all enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts going into the final in the comments. Hopefully you've enjoyed the preview, an in-depth look at Spain and England. And I'll see you in the next one very soon, guys. Take care, stay safe, goodbye.